welcome to the show, Morgan Nelson.
Matt, thanks so much for having me, mate. Let's see where we go with it all.
Let's set the scene and let's go deep.
I had no ambition, no desire at all to ever go to university, continue the education or anything like that. What I did when I left school, I just found myself doing what was said I should do, which was go get a trade, an apprenticeship or something like this. It wasn't too long before I was really caught up in that environment before I started doing every single thing that everyone else around me was doing as well. Substance abuse and alcohol and everything to just cope. And that led me to a point at 19 years old in so much pain that I thought it would be more painful to actually stay here on this planet than it would be to leave and try to take my own life. It was really that point in my life where I started to actually think about like what do I actually really want? I started to actually focus on creating a life that I wanted. But it started the obsession of one thing. How the hell did I go from a complete fuck up at 19, 20, 21 to then financially free, having more freedom, more wealth than most people I knew in my world at 23 years old? It just blew my mind.
Guys, Matt Haycox here, and welcome to another episode of the Matt Haycox Show, where today I have got all the way from Australia. He's a speaker, he's a trainer, he's a personal development expert, he's into mindset, he's into money, he's into NLP, and he's got one of Australia's top podcasts as well. Welcome to the show, Morgan Nelson.
Matt, thanks so much for having me, mate. Good to chat, and it's cool that we're doing this thing live, and let's see where we go with it all.
Well, listen, I am very conscious of the fact that I've been disorganized and late this morning, and I'm already cutting into your very busy schedule. So we won't have too much preamble, but just set the scene of who you are, how you got here. I know you've got quite an interesting background, obviously overcoming self-esteem issues, depression, anxiety. I think you even attempted suicide at 19. So tell us a bit about that. Let's set the scene and let's go deep.
Yeah, for sure. So. Long story cut short, I only went to grade 12 for the parties and the girls. That's what I loved about it back then. I had no ambition, no desire at all to ever go to university and continue the education or anything like that. And what I did when I left school, I just found myself into, doing what was said I should do, which was go get into carpentry, go get a trade, an apprenticeship or something like this. And that's exactly what I did. Before I knew it, I'm working 14, 15 hours a day. 7 days a week, 3 weeks at a time. Then I'd take 2 days off, then back at it again. And so it wasn't too long before I really caught up in that environment before I started doing every single thing that everyone else around me was doing as well, which was drinking every single day, taking drugs every single day, drugs in the morning, drugs at lunch, drugs to keep going. It's just this massive concoction of substance abuse and alcohol and everything to just cope. Knowing what I know now, just massive vices to cope with and take ourselves out of actually what was happening in the real world. And yeah, that led me to a point at 19 years old, being so unconfident, so low self-esteem, in so much pain that I thought it would be more painful to actually stay here on this planet than it would be to leave and try to take my own life. And through that journey, started to actually figure out that, I actually sort of studied the other day. I sort of studied that there's been people that they simulated death on these people. And what they notice is they did studies on them after, and their level for gratitude actually went up massively compared to where it was prior, and massively higher than the average person as well. And, there's so many stories we've heard of people who have nearly died from drug overdoses or crazy near-death experiences and things like this. And they've come back, completely changed their life and done so many new things from it. And after seeing that study, I was like, it makes a lot of sense, because it was really that point in my life where I started to actually think about, like, what do I actually really want? And what the hell is this all about? And I sort of drew the line in the sand that I'm like, that's it. I'm taking my life seriously. I started to set more boundaries in my life. And, I started to actually focus on creating a life that I wanted, one that was more successful, more happy, and all these types of things. And started my first business at 21. I sucked ass at it. I kept going. I kept learning how. I kept getting mentors and learning and failing and learning and failing. And then at 23 years old, I was financially free, living on the beach of Mexico. And that's what I thought my life was going to be for the rest of my life, living on the beach of Mexico. But it started the obsession of one thing. And that was, how the hell did I go from a complete fuck up at 19, 20, 21 to then financially free, having more freedom, more wealth than most people I knew in my world at 23 years old? It just blew my mind. So I started to really get obsessed on personal development, mindset, neuroplasticity, rewiring our beliefs, and all of these things that make us up who we are. And so for the last sort of 7 years now, I've really done such a deep dive into that. Human behavioral psychology, neurolinguistic programming, all these types of things, that what makes a successful person successful? How do we actually shape our own destiny? How do we mold our life and continually transform and create ourselves into the person we want to be, create the business we want, the life we want, the relationship we want, the health we want, all these types of things? It's completely possible. We just need to know how to actually put it all together. And, from that journey, I just kept going, made first $1 million by 28, traveled the world, done all the cool things, and sort of led us up to where we are right now, where my whole life's mission now is putting everything I know into knowledge, into education, into programs to teach other people, to take them through similar journeys so they can crack open and have the things that they want as well.
Well, that is a whirlwind of a story, and so many questions I've got for you. But I tell you, for me, just one of the most interesting things you said there at the beginning was about this study on people who were thinking about committing suicide or simulating death. I mean, how much do you know about this? Do you know how they do simulate that death? Because I think for me, I was going to ask you about the suicide thing anyway, because it's something that I've always struggled to get my head around, and I don't obviously say that in a disrespectful way to people who are suicidal, but I guess I don't really have any fears in life other than death, and I think for me that fear of death is because it's a fear of the unknown, and it's a fear of my own death, not other people's death, because as close as people may be to me and as sad as it may be if they die, at least I know what that looks like. It just means they're not around anymore. But I guess, for me, that fear of the unknown means that I think no matter how depressed I was, no matter how, pissed off about situations or whatever, I could never pull the trigger on it, because I just don't know what's around the corner. I'd be interested. Well, two questions on that, really. One, how do they simulate death on this study? And secondly, as someone who's has been there yourself, how does it feel? When you say you felt that it would be easier on the other side of the world than we are today, I mean, was it just a thought? I mean, were you actually sat there with pills in your hand ready to do it? I mean, how do you get to that place?
Yeah. So first question about the study, I don't actually know. I only just literally read something on it like this week, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. But it makes a lot of sense because in some of my programs, because it's had such a profound effect on me, like I'll simulate. So I can tell you how we simulate death. So we'll actually have people in leadership scenarios, and we put them through different sorts of settings where we've falsified what's actually happening, and they've got to play all out, right, this event, and we're simulating the fact that you're all going to die right now, and we need to figure out a way to all survive. And essentially we get to the end of it, and most people, we simulate that you're all going to die. What now? What's your life about? And the most remarkable thing that happens in people's eyes in that moment, they literally redecide their entire destiny. They're like, what is most people come into that and then go, I've wasted my life until this point. I've played it safe. I haven't done anything. And when we really face them with, hey, I know you were thinking you were going to live forever, but now you're not, because you got onto this thing right now. And now you're going to die. All right, it's all fake, but the unconscious mind doesn't know what's real or what's fake. So we put them through simulations, and unconsciously they'll go through a very similar process to thinking that this is the end. And they start to just reshape everything. Like, what is my life about? What's important for me? What are my values? Who's important to me? What am I going to start doing? What am I going to stop doing? What message have I not shared with the world yet? The most powerful things come out of this, where people leave, they start businesses, they write books, they start podcasts, because they realize that they've been doing nothing even close to their potential yet. And when they can sort of go through a process like this, not only do they come away with this overwhelming sense of gratitude to be alive again, but to also go, they're grateful that they're alive, but they don't forget that they nearly died. So that memory sort of sits there where they're like, we can die at any moment. What are you going to do with this moment? And we've just seen people completely change their freaking lives through these things, and it's transformational. But the question, going through it, I was 19, so this is 11 years ago now. If I can sort of put it into, I interviewed a guy on my podcast. I forget his name, Kevin Hines. Kevin Hines had this really famous story where he was the guy who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge tried to kill himself, and he died. Oh, sorry, he didn't die. Obviously, I've talked to him. He
I was
tried
gonna
to
say
kill
that would have
himself.
been a hell of a podcast.
Yeah, that was a kill. That one went viral. That one. No, but he shared his whole story. It went viral on Goldcast because he shared the moment he let go of the railing, what was going through his head, and he's like instant regret. And he hits the water, and he didn't actually die. It's this crazy story. Like literally, a seal from the water came and pushed him up to the surface and pushed. It's a crazy story, and he's made the rest of his whole life talking about suicide prevention, helping people all this stuff. And he put it in the best way I've ever heard said. He said to me, "It's not depression. It's not any of these things because this has a bit of a." Even the word mental health, I don't even like that because a lot of people have this preconceived idea that there's something wrong with them. And it's not really there's something wrong with them. And I don't like it. And I'll say this very openly because I've gone through it. And people talk about, because I've gone through it and now I know what actually makes us the way we are. And I know how to actually help people reprogram themselves. If we believe that depression exists, it's going to exist. If we believe we have a mental health disorder, we're going to have it. We're going to do the thing. We're going to do the byproduct of who we believe we are. So if we think, oh, I have a mental health condition, great. What does somebody with a mental health condition do? They're probably depressed. They probably have anxiety. They're probably introvert. They probably don't go out there. They probably don't go to the gym. They probably don't eat nice foods. They probably don't look after themselves because what's the point? Because I have a disorder. And what Kevin said was, he goes, it's none of that. What it is brain pain. And I'm like, that's so true because it's this pain inside the brain that nothing stops it. Nothing can stop it. And the only way that it feels like to stop it is to die. And it is a crazy sort of thing. But if I was to sort of take myself back into the moment, what was going through it was, I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody. I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt like it was really weird. 11 years ago, there wasn't podcasts like this. There wasn't people talking about the fact like this is somewhat normal to, be really down and out sometimes, especially as a tradie on the job site. It's like you be a man, you toughen up, you drink, you take drugs, you fight. That's what it's all about. And the whole environment was just so toxic. And it just started to rub off on me where it just started to eat me away from the inside out. It was negative, nothing. There was no certainty. There was no joy. There was no happiness. All of my, what felt like youth got taken away because I was just so young and all I wanted to do was hang out with my friends and enjoy my life. But here I was spending 80 to 90 hours a week doing a job that I hated. And then I think it was just one thing after the next, like got defeated. We're not knowing the tools on how to actually develop a strong, resilient mind or even how to raise my own self-esteem. And I think I even went through like a bit of a breakup. And I think that was like one of the last things. I was like, fuck all this, and that was kind of it. And no, it wasn't a contemplation. It was actually like an attempt. Yeah. I did actually attempt. And then after it was kind of like it all sort of worked. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I just actually had like a strong conversation with myself where it was like, it's like I was able to sort of objectively have a conversation with myself and be like, okay, you're thinking about doing this and do whatever you want, but are you sure it's the right decision? Have you tried every single other way before this? And the answer was no. So I was like, okay, well, before you try again, what do you want to do then? And the answers was, I want to get the fuck out of here. I want to stop drinking, taking drugs. I want to start eating healthy food. And I want to start exercising. I did all those things within a month, completely changed my life.
And do you ever feel that you could ever slip into even 2 or 3% of that person again? Or are you completely reborn? I guess let's say just a bit of, I don't know, analogy or context. I mean, I've lost weight, for example, over the last 12 or 18 months. I was never a big fatty, but I've lost I don't know 10 or 12 kilograms, and it's I've got quite a transformed life. But I can still slip into McDonald's now and again. I can still have a bit of wine, and I'm not someone who can be a preacher of the new healthy life. 90% of the time I can be a good boy, but I do need to sin now and again. And I mean, it might be a terrible analogy, trivializing something so great, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. No, and the answer is no. Like it was a few years ago, actually. I think when COVID first hit. Like life's always teaching us different things. It's teaching us different things. I remember I went from having 5 international countries lined up for me to speak at. I was going to speak in Canada, US, multiple cities in US, Mexico, New Zealand, Australia, and Asia. And that was all going to happen within the space of 11 weeks. That was the start of my year. And it was boom, boom, boom. It was going to be an amazing year, doing all these things I want to do. Next minute, COVID happened and started to cancel one event after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. Had me sitting alone. It was the typical story, like, and it's like, you know, crying my Ferrari type thing. But, you know, me and my mates were living in like a $4 million mansion on the water at the time. And it was the typical story where I'm sitting in this mansion on the water watching sunset, feeling completely empty. I was like, this is fucking weird. and it just took me through the next growth spurt for me. Like I said, like life's always going to be really challenging us and hitting us with different things. But it's the matter of like, if you're a mechanic and you've only got a spanner on you and you've got a car that comes through with the most broken shit ever, but that's all you have to work on it, you're only going to be able to do your best on it. But if any sort of broken car comes into the garage where you've got every single tool, every resource, the team and everything, nothing's ever a problem. It's just a matter of time. And that's how I now look at it. The amount of things I know about myself, about our brains, our humans, people, how we operate, our neuroscience, our chemicals, all these sorts of things, and the tools I now have, it's like that. It's like, bring me the darkest days. I don't give a fuck. I'm equipped. I'm good. I'm good. But it taught me through that moment because everything just sat still. Now we're in lockdown. All my events got, I was just going through a breakup. All my events got stopped. Everything stopped. And I'm sitting there in my house going, well, what do I do now? And there's that quote that every man's greatest problems is left within his inability to be able to sit still with himself. And that never made so much sense until that all started to happen. And I remember talking with my mentor, actually. I was like, dude, you know, like last couple of weeks been really fucking weird. Like, you know, I'm all over this shit, but you know, I'd be lying if I said to you that I haven't had some thoughts that have been like really dark. And he just reminded me, he's like, dude, fucking everybody does. He's like, I have the most weirdest thoughts all the time. He's like, I'll tell you exactly what he said. He's like, I've had thoughts of me walking down the beach and seeing a kid playing in the water and just thought, wouldn't it be fun to pick that kid up and kick him in the water? Like, that'd just be so funny, you know? He's like, I could run away. And he goes, I've thought about it. Of course, it's just random thing my brain thought about. But the difference is I don't act on it. He's like, thoughts will always come in. Things will always come in your mind. It's the matter of being able to look at your own thoughts objectively and not act and not attach emotion to them. You see, events are always happening in our life. We're always thinking about things. Then humans come along and fuck it all up by adding meaning and emotion to certain things. So people might think of things and you know, they might be going through really bad times in their life and might even just think about, oh, I don't want to be here or you know, crazy things like that. And that's okay to think about that. It's so okay to think about that. What's not okay is to think about it for a prolonged period of time and to actually act on it and start to think that your thoughts are you. We are not our thoughts. We are not our thoughts until we actually decide to attach meaning and emotion to it and then act on it. So the answer is no, that definitely don't happen anymore. And even if the most craziest shit ever was to ever happen, I think I'd be very equipped with it. And one thing you mentioned before, you're like, you've got the fear of death. That's an interesting thing because what I've noticed is I don't have the fear of death at all. I'm actually so okay with death. And
why?
Because I think I've gone through but then also through just the depths of stripping back my ego and going to the depths myself, doing personal development to the depths I have, similar things I put people through at my events. What I've noticed when I've faced my own death before and then come back, it's given me a sense of, well, I just don't care. Like it's nothing we can control. And I think it's also just the idea of it, right? Because here's the thing. They did a study on 100 people who finished university. They want to see who lived the longest and who was actually the most wealthiest, blah, 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 blah. That's another test. But what they found was 33% of people, by the time they reached 65, were not even alive. 33% of people don't even make it to retirement. Like, that's a big number. Whether they die in a car crash or they get cancer or random shit or who knows. People die the most random freak ways all the time. And it's not like but for some reason, we think that we'll live to 100. And it wasn't until I really was to face off with the reality of that. And one time my mentor said to me, he goes, do you have a will? I said, I'm 26 years old. Why would I have a will? He goes, why do you think you'll live next week? That's a true story. I don't know. I'm ignorant to the fact, thinking that I'm the main character in my story and I'll live forever. And we all get into this idea thinking that, therefore, we fear the thing that is actually inevitable. So I've stripped back the fear of the thing that is just going to happen anyway. And I focus on doing the thing that I can control. What I can control is trying to live the best freaking life I possibly can. That's what I can control. And once I really got over the fear of being like, I'm not afraid to die. Like, if I'm going to die, like, whatever, I just want to make sure it's doing something fun. I joke with my friends because I'm a skydiver. So they're always like, like, why would you skydive? Like, it's fucking fun as to start with. But I go, if I do die early, I just want to really make sure that it happens doing something really gnarly and really fun. Like, if I died hiking from a freaking snake bite or some shit, man, I'd be pissed off. I wouldn't be scared, but I'd just be pissed. I'd be like, of all ways for me to die, a fucking snake bite. I just play with it. I'm just very light on it. And like, I think it's just from going through life and just the reality of that, it is going to happen. And I think if we can actually remove the fear altogether, that the one thing, there's two things that are certain in this world. You have to pay taxes, even living in Dubai, right? There's still a little bit of tax there now, isn't there? Right?
Just about, yeah.
Just a little bit, right? You have to pay taxes. The other certain thing is you're going to die. What we do in between right now when we die, that's the only thing we can really control. We can't control when we're going to die. We can try our best to extend it, look after our bodies, do the right things, all these sorts of things. But we can never control a freak accident happening. We can't really control these things. And I just choose to live a life that's grateful. I choose to live a life that's peace and calm and focus on just enjoying the shit out of this moment versus having the underlying fear of, I might die. It's like, no, I will die. It's just a matter of how and when. So I just tend not to focus on it.
Tell me, you've mentioned mentors quite a few times in this conversation, and you talk about obviously your mentor now, and back to when you were 19 to 21. You absorbed as much as you could from as many mentors as possible. I mean, so did you look at them formally as mentors back then? I guess the context of the question for me is, I mean, I'm all about mentors. I'm all about learning, growth, etc. But I'm 42, 43 now, and I wouldn't say it was until I was probably 35 that I formally understood the concept of mentors. I mean, if I look back and when I was 18 or 20 or 25, yes, I had mentors in hindsight, but they were I didn't think back then, I've got this mentor. It was probably just someone who had more knowledge than me in a particular area, that I had the humility, if that's the word, to go and ask some questions because I knew they knew more than me. But never did I really, let's say, formalize a situation to think I'm going to sit down and this guy is going to take my life forward. I mean, were you as a 19-year-old who just come off drink, drugs, and suicide? Did you really see these guys as mentors back then? And what kind of a headspace had you got yourself into?
Definitely not. I would say the first person, and I've never really called him a mentor, but he definitely is like my best mate now. But because at the time he was very happy and pretty successful. He's like 24. He had like 6 or 7 properties. He was in business. I was like, dude, you got shit happening. Like, how do you do it? Right. I started to hang around him and learn more. But I was always fascinated by people that made it. I guess I started, but I would say the first mentor I had was a friend gave me a CD of Jim Rohn. And I would put that on in my car every single day on the drive to work. It was a 62-minute recording, and my drive to work every day was something like 58 minutes or something like this. So every day I drove
simultaneously, let's say, inspiring and soothing in the same breath.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no one else nowadays who can say the kind of words he said. I mean, look, plenty of people say the message because to a degree everything's a variation on our theme, isn't it? But I don't know anyone who can talk as soothing and relaxing as him whilst making you want to go and take over the world. But sorry, I interrupt.
Yeah. He's great, but like that was the first time I ever heard anything like this. Like, I got the CD and he's just saying things to me like, you're some of the 5 people you surround yourself with. I was like, oh my God. So you're telling me if I hang around with 5 rich people, I'll become one? That's mind blowing to me. I never heard that. Your thoughts become things. What do you mean they become things? Man, I've been thinking the most fucked up shit my whole life. No wonder my life is completely in a mess, And it was all these things. But every single day I listened to this recording for at least 3 or 4 months, every single day on the drive to work, and just let it regrain. and reprogram my mind to think differently about life, success, business. He really taught me. And that's why people ask, they're like, well, how do I get mentors? Bro, buy them, put them in your car. Like I used to drive to work every single day with Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, and they don't know me. Actually, Les knows me. I've had Les on the podcast, but but I put these people on. I had these recordings, and I just listened to them every day because they'd fire me up. They'd change the way I thought. I'd put that into my brain instead of radio shit. So it all started there, and then when I first started my first business, it was the people that were just doing better than me in the same industry, in the same company. I'd look up to them. How did you do it? I'd get to events. I'd pay. And that's the thing. People ask often, how do you get around like mentors? You got to pay some way. You either got to pay to play. Like you were telling me, you're at an event this weekend with Ty Lopez. You paid to be in that event. You pay to work with Ty. Or you're going to find a way to pay with energy and resources. Can we make connections? Like now I make a lot of connections with incredible people from my podcast. I give them a platform. They come on my podcast. I expose them to my network. Then we get in contact. We connect. I definitely learn things from them. They learn things from me. But I think from an early age that was, I can't tell you the first time I started to think this is my mentor, but I knew from a very young age that like I need to pick someone to learn off who has the life I want. Because my parents did the best they could, but they were never business owners, entrepreneurs. They were never really successful, or and I think seeing that grow up, seeing them sort of struggle and just do what they had to do to keep food on the table and keep our house mortgage and stuff like that. I think I definitely picked up unconsciously at some point that when I grow up, I don't want this. I want to be able to not say, I can't afford that. I don't want that. And I think that's probably definitely where some hunger came from. And then just one thing led to another.
Tell me, 21 to 23, because I'm conscious of your time and your busy schedule. So I want to get something financially exciting out of this for the audience as well. Mm-hmm. So you said from the age of 21 to 23, I think it was that in those 2 years you went from working the different jobs to being financially independent and secure. What were you actually doing? What was a process, and what would your kind of 2 or 3 top tips for anyone else struggling financially be to move themselves forward to where you got to?
Yeah, I'll give them the whole thing. So I've spent the last 7 years creating like what is the process, what's the formula, how did this happen, and I've now put it down into the 4 laws of creating your own dream life, which is the first one. You need to have the right environment. We need to be in the right environment. We've got to be around people. They've done so many studies on this as well that, it's the best story I've heard is they did a study. They put 6 monkeys into a cage. At the top of the ladder, they put a ladder in the cage. Top of the ladder, they had a bunch of bananas. And then every single time a monkey would go up the ladder to get the bananas, they would scold the other monkeys with water and then the monkeys would beat the shit out of the monkey that climbed up the ladder every time until no one would climb up the ladder. Then what they did, they take out a monkey, they put in a brand new one, and the monkey goes up the ladder, he gets the shit beaten out of him, and then he's left wondering, like, what the hell just happened? They switch out another one, put in another one, goes up the ladder, gets the shit beaten out of him by every single monkey, including the one who just got put in. And they kept switching them until no monkey had been scalded with water and no monkey had been up the ladder. Now, if you could talk to the monkey and say, why aren't you going after your bananas? He'd probably say, well, that's just the way things have always been done around here. And this was an exact study, right? Obviously, they didn't talk to the monkey, but they saw through behavior after a while, they picked on how it was done before them. So we've got to ask ourselves, unless we've been born into this massively successful entrepreneurial sort of life, then we've got to sort of create it. And a lot of people fall into the trap of taking advice from their parents because they respect their parents, they love their parents, but unfortunately, we've got to look for people that have the results we want. We've got to get around the people that have the results we want, because it's going to change what we think is normal. Because if you took one of those monkeys and you put him into a brand new cage, and in this cage, all they did was eat their bananas all day long. Every time they ate them, they put new ones in there. The monkey would originally feel really uncomfortable and be like, this is weird. Goes against my whole nervous system, what I thought was normal. But eventually, it's going to change its perception of normal. So what I challenge people to do is to get around an environment that's going to shift your perception of what you think normal is. Every single time I hang around with people that make a lot more money than me, it shifts my potential. Like I was talking with a friend the other day and they're like, yeah, we're scaling our business now to 2 million a month. And I'm like, 2 million a month? Like that is, I don't know anyone doing in this space. 2 million a month, mate. Good on you. And it just shifted I was like, why do I think that's not possible? It's like, because my perception of normal was, I was only thinking 1 mil a month, 12 million years, 8 figures. I was like, fucking hell. And then I was talking with another friend the other day. He's like, yeah, our buddy's doing 65 mil US a year in this same sort of industry. And I'm like, that is mental. It's just different perception. Blows my paradigm. I was like, I love that. I love that because the more I start talking about those numbers and what's possible, it also shifts what's happening internally for me of my own perception of what's normal that I can create. So the first thing we need to do is to actually get ourselves around people that are absolutely going to challenge us in what we believe is normal. Like I used to do my best and of being the dumbest and the poorest in every room I went into. That was my goal. I was like, I want to be in rooms that I'm embarrassed to tell them how much money I earn. That's what I want to do. Like I want to do that. And every time being in that, it was so uncomfortable, but it helped me to level up and get my shit in order together faster. Like what I've noticed is at that level, no one cares about your excuses. Everyone's just like, so what? A friend said to me the other day, this is why we need a good environment. A friend said to me, he goes, my personal trainer comes up to me the other day and he was all stressed out. And I said to him, what's going on? He goes, oh man, you wouldn't believe I've had the worst day. He goes, what's happened? He goes, look at the clothes I'm wearing. And he's like, you're in your outfit. He goes, yeah, but they're not even clean. And he goes, okay, what happened? He goes, my washing machine broke this morning. It's got water all on the floor. And then my mate looks at him and goes, can I give you some advice? You need bigger fucking problems, mate. You need bigger problems. And I was like, that is why you need good people around you to say to you, don't tell me that's the best advice I've heard. You need bigger problems. Wish for bigger problems, man. A broken washing machine? My God. my friends told me the other day, they're like, we just joined a Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership. And they're like, yeah, I had a conversation with this guy and he said, yeah, I'm going for this problem right now. We're just trying to figure out this $30 million law case that we're going through and how we're going to sort of pivot it and shit. I'm like, see, that's a problem that you want. You're like, how are you going to navigate $30 million problems? Not a broken washing machine. Different types of problems requires a different person, right? But through the environment, it's gonna build us, yeah? The second thing is we need to have the right vehicle. We may have the right person in the wrong car and we're not going to go anywhere. And like, it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you're sitting in a Ferrari, but you're too scared to put your foot on the pedal, you're not going to go anywhere as well. So it's a combination of a couple of things here. But at 21, I started building a network marketing business because I had no idea about business, entrepreneurship, nothing. I got into this and I was like, this looks cool. And I started just building this thing out. And that worked really good for me. That was the right vehicle for me at that time. I learned entrepreneurship. I learned business, sales, marketing, systems, leadership, social media, all this sorts of stuff that I had to grow my business. And that's what really worked for me at the time. But a lot of people need to maybe look at their vehicle right now. See if they're in a vehicle that has an income cap, then it doesn't matter how much you manifest. You're not going to, like if you're in a job working 9 to 5, and doesn't matter if you increase your skill set, you're never going to get paid any more money. Maybe you work as a checkout chick or in a warehouse. It doesn't matter how smart you are. You're never going to get paid more because you can't work any more hours in the day. That's it. So we need to start to look at, can we shift vehicles? Can we shift how we're actually making things happen? And I continually look at those sorts of things. Like, what are the moving vehicles? What's the next opportunity? What industries are peaking right now? Like, people might be so clued on with technology, but they're working a job in a warehouse. But if they were to take that skill set but move it into immersing in AI, they'll probably find way more ways to make money in a shorter amount of time and make more money through this new endeavor that's here right now than working a freaking warehouse job. So we've got to analyze, where are we deploying our energy every single day? Because that's a commodity we won't get back. So we're going to make sure the energy we're actually deploying is in a vehicle that's going to bring us the best ROI. For me at 21, it was network marketing. So at 23, I quit my job. I was making enough money to be financially free. And it allowed me to focus on the next thing, scaling that thing to multiple 6 figures. And we did over 7 figures in in sales, scaled to 20 countries around the world, had customers in. Yeah. And then the third one is the right timing. A lot of people just don't pull the trigger. A lot of people don't pull the trigger. They sit and they wait 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 and they wait. They wait for the next thing. They get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. And they just never do anything. They're never all the way in. I say this at my events. I say, if like girls, I always get the ladies to put up their hand. If your man came home to you and said that I'm 99% sure that you're the woman of my dreams, let's get married, what would you say to them? And they just create this uproar. They're like, no, give me the 1%. I'm like, so they should. And all the men in the room, they're like, what the fuck you mean? I just gave you 99%. Well, I'm like, how much more do you want? And it's a perfect analogy because it's masculine and feminine energy. So is business, so is life, so is the universe. Everything's polarity. Everything has a plus and a minus, an up and a down, a left and a right. Until we're completely 100% like committed to what it is we're doing, I don't think the other side of the equation, the power, the force, whatever, sounds very spiritual and mystical what I'm saying, but it's like business and success is energetic. Like we can work and hustle, but if we're still like not all the way in, I really don't think we're going to be met from the other side of what we're coming together for. You know what I mean? And then the last one is we've got to work on becoming the right you. So we've got the right environment, vehicle, the right timing, and the right you. The you that got you to where you are now will not be the ones who get you to where you need to go. So we're going to focus on how do we actually rewire our belief systems, our values, and most importantly, as our attitude. You know, so the people that are listening to this, if they're in a situation that they're not totally happy with, in every single moment, we can decide to be one of three people. The first person sits back and they just complain about the wind. They complain and complain and complain that the wind's not blowing in my direction. Oh my God, it's so hard to be me. You don't understand. All right. And I might not understand. But unfortunately, the results doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. That's the first person. Second person, what they do is they put all their crystals out and they wait for the full moon to come and they just manifest and they visualize, right? But they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over, expecting that something's going to change, which is the definition of insanity. But the last person, they just get up and they change their sales. Like you said to me, in 2007, you went bankrupt, right? Like, yep. Shit happened. Then you were like, that sucks. Dust yourself off, get back up. Obviously, my sales were set in the wrong position. I'm just going to adjust them and keep going because the wind's not going to stop. The wind's not going to stop. It's up to us. Like, where are we putting our sail? And that's one of the things I learned from Jim Rohn right in the beginning. He's like, it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It's the set of your sail. And that thing stuck to me from the beginning. I was like, as long as I can always remain having an attitude that is, no matter what is happening right now, if I can get back up, change my sail, and just keep going, then I'll never fail. I'll never fail. So that's probably the biggest thing I can give these guys.
Listen, Morgan, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, mate. I'm very sorry that I was late because I could never mind talk for another 25 minutes. I'd love to talk for another 25 hours.
All good.
But,
we'll do one in person when I come back to Dubai.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say. I know you said before we started recording you're going to be in Dubai soon, so we definitely have to keep in touch. We'll do an in-person one, and we can dig even deeper. But it's been fantastic having you here, mate. Just before you go, just to let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, for sure. So my podcast is called Dream Out Loud. They can get that on anywhere they listen to podcasts. We're on there. We've had some amazing people on there. From like Les Brown, Dr. John DeMartini, Mark Victor Hansen, Chris Voss, Ty Lopez coming on. Had some amazing people on there. Or my Instagram, Morgan T. Nelson, or on YouTube, Morgan T. Nelson. We put out just heaps of content. It's 100% free. So yeah, come hang out there.
Fantastic. Morgan, thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Matt, for having me on.